bring in CBS NFL insider Jonathan Jones. And Jonathan, he's 69 years old. He has stepped away from the game as a head coach once prior. Are you surprised by this latest news?
Well, I'm not surprised that Bruce Arians is ultimately retiring as a head football coach. I'm surprised that it's happening right now. Right? This is extremely unusual. So not surprised by the move, surprised by the timing. And because of the timing of the move, I am surprised by the move. I mean, he was just at the NFL owners meetings in Palm Beach, where I was earlier this week. And then he left, I believe, on Monday afternoon. So he wasn't there for the sort of coaches' breakfast for the NFC coaches on Tuesday, not there for the press conference. We know that Bruce Arians has been dealing with some health issues. He had Achilles surgery, and so that he wanted to squash those rumors, though, in his statement, saying this is not at all health-related, that this is just what he wanted to do moving forward, et cetera, et cetera. So, okay, that's fine, and he wanted to make sure that Todd Bowles, a long-time friend of his, coach of his, they date back all the way back to Temple years and years ago, that he was set up for success, that he noted that so many coaches are normally set up for failure. There's a coaching vacancy. Well, why is there a vacancy? Because that coach was fired because the team didn't do well enough. And Todd Bowles, the former New York Jets head coach, obviously it didn't turn out very well for him in those 4 years there. He'd been biding his time as defensive coordinator, winning that Super Bowl ring, and now he gets an opportunity, certainly set up for success.
Yeah.
What do you know? You get Tom Brady as your quarterback.
Yeah, you know, that's interesting in terms of the succession plan, if you will. Todd Bowles has been a head coach in the league prior, but the offensive coordinator, Byron Leftwich, had interviewed for head jobs in the offseason. Obviously, he's in lockstep with the face of the franchise, if you will, Tom Brady. Are you a little surprised that it's not Leftwich that gets the head gig, replacing Arians?
I mean, it could only be one, and so it was going to be one of those two. You have a Todd Bowles who can probably still call the defense. Byron Leftwich, who, frankly, if Shad Khan, the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, had not retained Trent Baalke as general manager, Byron Leftwich would probably be the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars right now.
Right.
So Byron is going to get his opportunity, no question. Here he is, now working alongside under, if you will, Todd Bowles here as offensive coordinator, again with Tom Brady going into their third year, where he will once again be a prime candidate for head coaching jobs in the next cycle.
You know, this is a team, prior to this news, second best odds to claim the Super Bowl, a team that's stacked to win right now with Tom Brady coming out of his mini retirement, if you will. How does this impact this team with regards to those goals?
I don't see it necessarily impacting them all that much. We know that Bruce Arians has empowered his assistant coaches for some time. We know that Byron Leftwich and Tom Brady have worked together now for 2 seasons. We know what Tom Brady brings to a team. We know what Todd Bowles brings with his defensive prowess, his incredible schemes, his exotic blitzing. And so with that, and because Bruce Arians is still going to be in the fold, it's not like he's disappearing. He's going to take on a senior football consultant role, so he's still around. What we're actually, if you're talking about Super Bowl odds, really the only thing that you're missing is can Todd Bowles press the same buttons that Bruce Arians pressed either during the game or during the week with his team? I would not expect this to change their outlook, their forecast. I would not change their outlook or forecast heading into the season because of this move.
Jonathan, Bruce Arians is a coach that got his shot late in his professional career, if you will. He's a 2-time coach of the year, having done it with the Colts and Cardinals, won the Super Bowl as a 68-year-old coach. Characterize what type of coach and how successful he was in this league in his short tenure, if you will, over 3 franchises, having won 80 games in the league.
Yeah, incredibly successful, obviously, with this most recent tenure with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But you go back to when he was an interim coach, when you look at what he did in Pittsburgh as offensive coordinator. And then, of course, with the Arizona Cardinals, who, he had a much older Carson Palmer there in the 2015 season with the Arizona Cardinals and got them all the way to the NFC title game. Carson Palmer got a vote for NFL MVP in 2015 there in his mid to late 30s. That was a fantastic Cardinals team that very well could have played for a Super Bowl if they hadn't ran into the buzzsaw that was Cam Newton and that Carolina Panthers team that went 15-1 that season. So Bruce Arians has done it across franchises. He's done it at all levels of the job. And, you know, it seemed like this was a team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that, yeah, they could compete for an NFC South crown without the likes of a Tom Brady. But as soon as they got Tom Brady, of course, they became Super Bowl contenders, and winning it in that season where the game was at the home stadium. Bruce Arians noted that in his comments announcing the move, just how incredible it was, and how he did sort of consider hanging it up after that one, because you really can't go out on a better note than that. But there was that tug, right, for him to come back, wanting to run it back and win a second one. And so now here he is doing what he wanted to do for his coaches, where if he stepped down, you don't know what's going to happen with the coaches. You do it right now, Jim. It really reminds me of what Dean Smith did as a Carolina Tar Heel so many years ago, where, hey, I want Bill Guthridge, my longtime assistant coach and friend, to take over, and I'm going to give him a championship-ready team. That's very much what Bruce Arians is doing here.
Yeah, that's a great point right there. You know, when you talk about Todd Bowles, though, obviously he's had success as the DC of this team. His day-to-day job is going to change, obviously, with overlooking the whole team. So how do you suppose, we talk so often about the Buccaneers on the offensive end led by Tom Brady, but how do you suppose this might impact the defense on this team?
Yeah, I'm not sure that we know exactly if Todd Bowles is going to call the defensive plays as the head coach. I would suspect that he would, because he is such a veteran, because he's been around the block in the NFL, again, dating back to his time with the New York Jets. I would have to assume that he can manage both tasks. I think that, and I know that he's learned plenty over the years since his departure from the New York Jets. I even talked to him about it, a story for CBS Sports.com 2 seasons ago, and how he wasn't going to just jump for any old move because he wanted to be a head coach again. He learned from the Jets experience that it was going to be the right next move for him. He always has been dialing up the blitzes at the right time for this defense, one of the most more aggressive and attacking defenses in the NFL, one of the most sack-happy defenses in the NFL. And look, the fact that they were able to retain a Carlton Davis was really impressive there in free agency. And I think that him coming back and staying there, and sort of the continuity and familiarity with these defensive players, is only going to pay dividends for the Buccaneers.
Yeah, he averaged 6 wins over his 4 campaigns. The 24 wins overall in the 4 seasons as head man of the Jets. He's obviously put in a much better situation here. He's Jonathan Jones, CBS NFL insider. Jonathan, we appreciate the insight. Here's what it looks like with regards to odds to win the Super Bowl. You see the Bucs right there, just back of the Buffalo Bills, second best odds to claim the Lombardi. Just how might Bruce Arians walking away from the sideline ultimately impact this team?
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.